You ever wonder if learning actually gets harder the older we get? Or, maybe it's just different? Well, today, we're going to dive right into the fascinating psychology of the adult mind and figure out how we really learn once we're done with school. This old saying. We've all heard it a million times, right? It's this idea that's stuck around forever, that learning is really a young person's game. That after a certain point, our brains just, check out. But is there any truth to that? Well, let's just say the science tells a very different story. Now, check this out. This quote is from research done almost 100 years ago. A psychologist named Edward Thorndike was already busting this myth way back in 1928. His point was crystal clear then, and it's just as true now. Age itself is hardly ever the real problem. The ability to learn? Well, it's still there. Okay, so if our ability to learn doesn't just vanish, then what is different? Here's the key. The adult mind isn't worse at learning, it's just wired for a totally different kind of learning. It's not a competition with a kid's brain, it's just a different operating system. Let's break down what that really means. First things first, adults are all about the goal. We don't really learn just for the fun of it anymore. We learn because we need to solve a specific problem or reach a certain goal. I mean, think about it, right? You learn new software to get that promotion. You learn a new language because of a business trip. You learn how to fix the sink to save some money. There's always a clear, practical purpose driving us. Right, and here's our superpower. A kid is pretty much a blank slate, but an adult walks into a classroom with decades of life experience packed in their brain. We connect every new idea to this massive library of past wins, losses, and random knowledge we've collected. It's how we make sense of the world, and it's a huge advantage. An adult learner is constantly, and I mean constantly, asking themselves, okay, but why do I need to know this right now? Our lives are complicated, we're busy, so we have to see the immediate value in what we're studying. Abstract theories are kind of cool, I guess, but show us how to use that theory to solve a real problem tomorrow. Now you've got our attention. As we get older, we make a really important shift. We go from being dependent learners, like we were in school, to being in the driver's seat of our own education. We want to say in what we learn, how we learn it, and why. We're not just passengers anymore. We're navigating our own learning journey. So, all these unique traits we've been talking about, what do you call that? Well, it's not just a random collection of observations. There's actually a formal field of study for it, and it's called androgyny. This is the science behind everything we've just covered. To put it simply, andragogy is the whole method and practice of teaching adults. The term was made famous by an educator named Malcolm Knowles, and his big idea was that we needed to draw a really clear line in the sand between how we teach adults and how we teach kids. And this slide right here nails the key difference. Pedagogy is what we all went through in school. It's about teaching children, where the teacher is the expert who just pours knowledge into your head. Andragogy, on the other hand, is about helping adults learn. See the shift? The focus goes from teaching to guiding. It's a partnership. So Knowles basically built this whole theory on 5 main pillars. Let's run through them. First is self-concept, the idea that adults see themselves as being in charge. Second, experience. All that life stuff we talked about becomes a huge resource. Third is readiness, meaning we're most motivated to learn when life throws a new role at us, like becoming a parent or a manager. Fourth is orientation. Our learning is centered on solving problems, not just memorizing subjects. And finally, number 5, motivation. For us, the biggest drivers are internal, things like wanting a better quality of life, not external things like grades. So, with everything we know now about how an adult's brain is wired for learning, it becomes super obvious that the old school listen to me style of teaching just completely falls flat. The person teaching has to change their whole approach. It's way less about being the boss and a whole lot more about being a partner. So what does that actually look like? Well, it means you're creating a cooperative vibe, not a dictatorship. It means you start with the knowledge people already have. You focus on solving real-world problems together. And maybe the most important thing of all, you have to explain the why. You always have to connect what you're teaching to why it matters. If you lose the why, you've lost the adult learner, period. Okay, so we've got a handle on how adults learn best. But what's the ultimate point? Sometimes learning isn't just about picking up a new skill. Sometimes it can actually fundamentally change who we are. And there's a name for that, transformative learning. This is the real deep end of adult learning. This is when a new idea or a new experience doesn't just add another fact to your brain. It causes a total shift in your entire perspective. It makes you question your deepest assumptions and completely changes how you see yourself and the world around you. It's the kind of learning that truly sticks with you for life. So if there's one thing to take away, it's this. Learning as an adult isn't about filling up a bucket with facts. It's about lighting a fire. It's about growth and solving problems, and sometimes completely transforming. So as we wrap this up, I'll just leave you with this to chew on. What's one belief you hold right now that your next learning experience could challenge and maybe even change for good?